Well, this is going to be a very fun video to make because it is just such a shocking topic. But a bunch of people that work over at Xbox are talking about how broke they are. They can't afford commercials, they're not getting new ad revenue, they're shutting down studios, and it sounds like, in general, things are going in a very strange direction with Xbox just as it currently exists. They can't sell systems, they can't get subscriptions, they can't get people to actually care or buy any Xbox games. But let's talk about it. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, this has been going around for the last couple days, and I've had a ton of subscribers just begging me to talk about it because it is just such a strange sound bite. But the head of marketing over at Xbox has said they're straight up unable to properly convey or advertise their own games. They're saying that the PlayStation marketing budget is just way, way bigger. They said this: we do not have a blessing of huge media budgets, so we're having to be quite scrappy and quite tenacious to fight for funds that would probably go somewhere else. Now, immediately, this is a very strange thing because even a lot of Xbox journalists are saying it's kind of bizarre to publicly complain about how broke you are just in general, but also I think it is conveying the fact that it's pretty obvious that Microsoft is beginning to run out of patience with Xbox. Now, when they first started making Xbox consoles over 20 years ago, it was very much immediately popular. People liked the idea that there was an alternate option to the GameCube and the PlayStation 2. The Xbox managed to do something different. I think the fact that it was a Western-based console with a lot of very cool stuff like a built-in Ethernet port, a focus on Xbox Live, all the crazy good shooters that immediately launched with it, the Xbox was something that was originally cheap to make. It was straight up just off-the-shelf computer parts. It was easy to develop for, and a lot of the games were making their money back. Same thing happened during the Xbox 360 generation, where obviously Microsoft's idea was, okay, we're already making tons of trillions, literal trillions of dollars with stuff like Windows and all their other chat programs and stuff like that. They were always thinking, okay, Xbox is just an extra for funsies experiment. And clearly, that goodwill and that checkbook is beginning to go absent. The amount of funding, the amount of resources is clearly beginning to dissipate. Now, I think part of this is just the fact that, in general, the last several months have been very rough for the console market. The Nintendo Switch is selling pretty bad. The Xbox is a flatline. Literally nobody in the world is buying an Xbox right now. The actual sales continue to drop more and more and more. Only the PlayStation is even selling, but that is also not doing as good as clearly Sony hopes. I think it's showing the fact that where other industries are reliant on their consoles, like Sony needs you to buy a PlayStation 5. Sony TVs and Sony pictures and stuff like that are also generating money, but at this point, PlayStation is a huge chunk of the success that Sony is trying to do. Same with Nintendo. Nintendo does have stuff like the Nintendo movies we're going to get more of, but like, if you think about the immense profitability of Nintendo, that is because of the Switch. That's because their fans are buying tens of millions of every single game they release. Whereas Xbox is now in a weird spot where the Xbox isn't selling, the games aren't selling, and people aren't even subscribing to Game Pass. And a lot of people are saying that this seems like a gigantic final death rattle. The fact that they're jacking up the price, so now that it costs $20 a month, even if you're just trying to play some random games here and there, these charts to actually convey how to get Game Pass, what kind of Game Pass, it's very bizarre. And just 30 minutes ago, apparently they're trying to make a new style of streaming, so they're going to make another tier as well. So that means that you're going to get Game Pass Core, Game Pass Standard, Game Pass Ultimate, Game Pass Cloud Gaming. They're trying to make different styles to essentially say, please just get the subscription service by any means possible. Now, some people are basically saying this is definitely what Microsoft wants this to be. I think that Microsoft originally, their idea for Xbox was, okay, we'll make cheap games at a big profit. Gears of War, Halo, a lot of the stuff was just made at the lowest budget possible, and it managed to become an accidental massive success because the games are good, the developers were passionate, and also it was just sort of a different era. Making games quick, making games efficiently, like it was a lot easier to make stuff back then. So now it seems like the pivot is that I think Microsoft just wants to try and find a way to pretty much be Steam, to be a service where you can buy stuff through it and they get a cut. A lot of people have been praising the fact that Microsoft's latest price hike, this new Xbox Game Pass, this is I think the third or fourth price increase for Xbox Game Pass. People are definitely not happy about that. But I did see some people saying, okay, at least they're still trying to bring up new stuff that is excellent, that is different. Like this game, Path of the Goddess, Dungeons of Hinterberg. I did a review for Flintlock Siege of Dawn. I wasn't super thrilled with it, but I mean, if you're getting it on Game Pass, it is definitely a good deal. All of these games launched day one on Game Pass, but none of them are made by Xbox. These are all just things that are licensed through Microsoft. And I think that this is their current push. I think they have put themselves in a very unfortunate circumstance where back in the day, Microsoft would sell you a game. They would actually make their own crazy big stuff and then sell it on their own consoles. So you'd buy the game, you'd buy the system. You had a very just detailed, trackable, profitable way to get the games to the people. Whereas now they're in a spot where they have trained their most loyal customers not to buy stuff, to just subscribe to Game Pass for as cheap as possible to play the one or two things they want and then leave the service again. And now they're at a spot where people just don't care. You're not getting any new growth. You're not getting any new fans. You're not getting any people actually fresh to the ecosystem. And I feel like part of the reason that you can see Xbox panicking, the reason you can see Xbox clearly cutting budgets and stuff is because right now, they have found themselves in a spot I don't think they expected. I believe that originally, when they came up with Game Pass, they thought that they would be an industry leader. I truly believe the fact that Xbox thought that they would make this big push to never really owning your games, but still being able to play them, and everybody would follow suit. We did see, obviously, Nintendo has a retro service. The Nintendo Switch Online service lets you play old school Super Nintendo and Nintendo 64, Game Boy Advance games like that. But it's definitely not what actually is the big focus of Nintendo. PlayStation does have PlayStation Plus, and PlayStation Plus does get a lot of big games on it. I think PlayStation Plus is cool. But again, the purpose of PlayStation is to sell you a $70 game. Whereas now what's happening is Game Pass has put themselves in the spot where they thought that everybody would jump in with this new big trend, and it just didn't happen. What's going on with Xbox is more important than just the general Xbox ecosystem, because right now Game Pass is all they have. There is no fallback plan, there is no other option. If you're wondering why we keep seeing all these Xbox games coming to the PlayStation 5, why we keep seeing so many rumors of even new Xbox stuff like Doom, The Dark Ages is coming day one to the PlayStation 5, I think this is a sign. I'm not going to just say Xbox sucks or their games are the worst, boo. I think it's the fact that I think it is interesting that I do truly believe these are the final years of Xbox. I don't think there's going to be exclusives. I think a lot of the games are just going to get released on PC. If Game Pass continues to exist, I think Game Pass is going to have some sort of new service where you don't actually get the free games for 30 days or 60 days afterward. I think we're going to start to see Microsoft actually just cutting costs here and there. There's been a lot of rumors that they're already planning to shut down even more studios. They're planning on actually trying to roll out games with more DLC, more stuff to actually get people to play and subscribe and pay beyond just a standard cheapo Game Pass subscription. Will this work? I don't think they will. I think that Xbox has put them in a spot where they have now just decided that if this cannot completely survive on its own, with no marketing, no hype, no cheerleading, I do think this is the end of Xbox. I think this is actually the final days of it. I think that Phil Spencer, the reason we haven't seen him much, or Sarah Bond, I think a lot of these big high-tech people at the top of Xbox are getting ready to go away. I think that Xbox, as it currently exists, is definitely in its last stand. There is a lot of talk about the fact that all commercials for Game Pass are being pulled if they talk about Xbox. There's been a lot of rumors that pretty much worldwide, and apparently the United States is still going to have some Xbox commercials, but there's no longer going to be any commercials just for Xbox hardware in Europe, in Japan, in Asia. They're giving up on the Xbox, and I feel like that's not a positive initiative. I think they're going to actually say, hey, get Game Pass if you want, but just buy it anywhere. I think there's going to be less games, and I think there's about to be a lot less Xbox. But these are just some off-the-cuff thoughts. You can see a lot of these are actually slides and stuff I've been saving for days now, because this is a topic that I feel like there is no correct answer. I could be wrong, but I do think this is the end of Xbox as it currently exists. But I'm excited for Doom. I'm optimistic in a way for the future of something like Starfield, which hopefully becomes fun at some point. But yeah, I just think that if you only own an Xbox, if you only play stuff on Xbox, if you're only excited for the future of Xbox, it might be time to start considering an exit plan or hopefully building a gaming PC. But what do you guys think? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below. And please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And please keep dreaming. No bueno.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.